Sanny. Oh,
how's everyone
Granny,
doing
can I have some Sanny?
this week?
Ross is a bit grumpy bum today.
It's alright.
Thanks.
We'll live.
Just today.
Well, I don't know.
You
I
don't
thought I
know?
was fine today, but obviously I'm not. Everyone keeps telling me I'm grumpy. I think it's a plot, but you're grumpy.
Oh, no.
No, I'm not.
I put too
We're
much.
doing great here. Yeah, we're fine.
We're going a little bit loopy, but that's fine.
That's fine. It happens.
A little bit loopy's good.
I put too much hand sanitizer on. I'm going to be here.
Hello, Jared. Hello, Liz. Hello, Linda.
Beauty. Alright.
Okay.
Linda sent us a fabulous picture of Shiraz's for tonight, sitting on her tax work. Tax paperwork. It was great.
That's alright.
So, what are we drinking tonight, boys and girls?
Shiraz!
Wow.
Shiraz.
Much requested.
What does Shiraz mean? It's quite an unusual word, isn't it, Shiraz?
Shiraz.
Shiraz.
Why
Well,
has that become a really bad, bogan girl's name, Shiraz?
Kind of does.
Well-
Better than Shardy, but
Shiraz. Shiraz is interesting because there's been all sorts of stories about why it's called Shiraz.
Hi, Christine.
The French call it Syrah, and it's actually their grape. Maybe in some instances we should call it Syrah, but given that we're making it a slightly different style, we're just as happy to call it Shiraz. Vivian would like some too, I think.
There
she
you go.
wants wine. Oh,
But
So-
round Chateauneuf du Pape in the French Rhone Valley, where a lot of the Syrah is grown, the original people that farmed it were Knights Templars who'd come back from the Middle East from the town of Shiraz.
Ah, there you go.
So they were the Knights of Shiraz who tended the Syrah
I've had
grapes.
many nights of Shiraz.
So it always got confused because there were just always stories about the grapevines came from the Middle East. No, with the Shiraz Knights brought the Shiraz grapes back from the town of Shiraz and blah blah blah. Well, it's not true. It's actually DNA-wise, it's genetically proven to be native to the Rhone Valley. It didn't come from the Middle East at all. That's
There you
just
go.
not one of those great stories that people told over hundreds of years. And
yeah. Liz has just said, isn't there a connection with Shiraz in Iran?
No.
Yeah, there you go.
well, there's a town in Shiraz, and
Yeah,
yes.
but then that is.
So, Jared asked the question, are we starting with the Jimmy? Yes, we're starting
We
with
are
the
starting with the Jimmy.
Yep, we're
Beautiful.
starting with the Jimmy.
So, what else do we need to know about Shiraz in general before we get into the...
What's the go with Shiraz grapes? Like, what do they look like?
Big bunches, big grapes, thick skin. Pretty
skin?
hardy, pretty tough. One of the reasons there's so much of it in Australia is it sort of loves Australian conditions because it's sort of like it's taken to Australia like it's duck to water kind of stuff. It just loves it.
When you do a grape growing course, all they ever talk to you about when you're doing
A
Shiraz...
grape growing course.
Yes, we did a grape growing
Oh.
course because we made our own wine. That's another story.
We've done all that, yeah.
Is they talk to you about the vigour. Once you plant a Shiraz vine, there's almost nothing you can do to stop it.
And if you've seen it in the vineyard, they sort of like back.
Pretty gutsy thing.
They go through and slash it before they prune it because it's like some of the
The
canes will be 3 meters or more long because it's just got to go like it.
Jeez.
It's huge.
And they're pretty
Yeah.
big, gnarly looking things too.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So it's pretty tough, which is why it's so suited to Australia because it just likes it.
But that being said, an Australian Shiraz is a very different flavour profile to a French Syrah.
Yeah, I think a lot of that's to do with the conditions though, because firstly is it gets a lot riper here than it ever will.
For
in
sure.
France.
But is that anything to do with the winemaking as well, do you think?
Oh, some of it's the winemaking. I definitely think a lot of it's to do with winemaking, but also the fact we get it riper, and two that the clones of Shiraz that we have now are older than the French ones because all the French stuff was wiped out during the phylloxera in the
Ah, yeah, that's true.
around the Second World War. It was all wiped out by phylloxera, so they've got newer strains that are grafted onto American rootstock, which is they're quite different to some of the older Shiraz vines in Australia. Are in fact, well, in the world, or in
Originally from-
Australia, at Chateau Tabilk in the Gambia, pre-1860s, and there's a lot in the Barossa Valley that are similar kind of age too. So the oldest Shiraz
Yeah.
vines are here in Australia, not in France.
We win.
There you go. Haha.
I was reading something quite similar in terms of different strains of Cabernet as well, in terms of the French stuff. But yeah.
Beautiful. So,
Ross, what are we getting on the nose here?
Oh, sorry,
Ross jumped ahead there.
so whereabouts is Jimmy from again?
Grampians.
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 Yeah,
predominantly.
Victoria.
Victoria. Beautiful.
Anyway, what do? We got to look at the colour of it. Look at the thing.
It's red.
It's red colour. It's a nice purpley,
Pick that one up.
purpley colour.
It's nice, yeah, clean purpley red.
Purpley red.
And
Why is that Russ?
I actually really like this Jimmy Shiraz. I've
I like
bought a
it,
couple
Morgan.
of bottles. And I quite enjoy it for a $15 bottle.
yeah, I think it's for $15. It's a pretty good wine.
Yeah.
Oh, it's got a nice. There is a subtle bit of tannin and oak on the nose as well, which is interesting.
Linda said she got blackberries, which I consider.
Blackberries.
Yeah, I get blackberries.
Is it slightly plum-ish?
Yeah,
And a little bit of pepper. I'm getting a bit of pepper.
a little bit of pepper.
There's almost like a tobacco-y smell as well.
Yeah, I get that.
That sort of like damp wood sort of smell.
What's a damp
Ooh,
wood?
Oh,
yeah,
that's what we
so-
need. Is we need a wooden version of petrichor.
Anyone know a wooden version of petrichor? Damp wood.
Not mould. That's not the right.
No.
Or rot.
No,
It's
Not
just-
bread. No,
no.
no.
Or like
It's
damp
interesting. I think you look.
Sour,
It's
you
got,
get that sourdough smell.
I always like it got that nice purpley,
Oh,
plummy
yeah.
colour, and then you smell it, it gets sort of plum and blackberry. So it's a very
very plum-ish.
Is anybody else smelling anything else at home?
Is there a hint of what is it?
Something else. going on.
Nutmeg or star anise or something?
Maybe that was that pepper I was thinking.
Perhaps, yes.
Or was it Szechuan pepper?
That's what I was just thinking. Stop rummaging around in my head. That's rude.
Woo!
There's definitely something there. It's almost a bit of cocoa as well.
It's a bit spicy, but it's not.
It's not overly spicy though.
No.
Because Shirazes are generally quite spicy anyway. This one
Yeah, it's a
isn't
bit
so
of
much.
clove, maybe star anise a little bit.
Oh, I said wet sawdust, but apparently driftwood is the word for it. Like
Ooh.
driftwood.
I think wet sawdust and driftwood are very different things.
That is true, yes.
But yeah,
But as in like the smell, perhaps.
no, because driftwood makes me think salty,
Yeah, that is true, yes.
like sea driftwood.
I
What
get the
about
wet.
driftwood in a
I
lake?
get the wet sawdust.
The wet sawdust? Yeah.
Wet sawdust is kind of close to what I was thinking.
Belle has said cherry. That's a good
Cool. A little bit of cherry. I'm gonna dive
Tea.
in.
Sorry?
Tea. I get a tea smell.
Black tea.
Like a cup of tea.
Black tea.
Ah.
Oh yeah.
Get that?
So it's the tannins.
Liz says cocoa.
The
That's what
tannins.
Luke was getting before.
All right, I'm gonna.
Dive in.
Gee, it's nice and soft on the palate. For a $15 wine, it's really soft on the palate. Yeah.
Because when I first tried it, I didn't think it was a Shiraz because I guess I'm used to Shiraz being very peppery, but this one isn't so much.
It's very Grampians, in fact. It's kind of nice and
There's something
Round.
nice about having a very different Shiraz. You know, like something slightly higher altitude.
Christina says, I've dived right in. Sorry guys, getting something like black currants, and I do see where the tobacco is coming from.
Mm.
And Diane has said black tea as well. She definitely agrees.
I get the black currants actually.
Hello, Diane.
It's got a nice velvety texture on the palate, but still dry at the back.
Yeah, it's nice.
It isn't an overly long palate. It's quite short.
perfect with pizza.
With pizza.
Perfect with pizza.
Why do you say that?
I just think I would really enjoy that with a pizza.
Russ has something else
You guys-
on his mind.
Yep, pizza, good, done.
Tick.
Sorted.
But it'd probably go pretty well with barbecued lamb, I'd reckon.
Barbecued lamb.
Yep.
Very
Why do you say
specific.
that? I'm going to ask you why, even if you don't want to.
I think the berry, peppery kind of flavours would just marry off really nicely with some barbecued lamb.
Okay.
Just
What
think
about-
it'll just
I actually think veal.
veal. I think.
That would
Okay.
be
It's not too-
really
it's not
good. Sorry.
It's not too big. It's not too big. I can see how you get away with them.
Lamb or veal or something.
Jen, we have started with the Jimmy first.
Yes.
What year is this?
17.
Liz says, I love the mouthfeel and the tannins are lovely. And Christine has said, I appreciate the fact that it's not too acidic. That's quite right.
It's nice and soft.
I'm thinking these wines are all that might be a common theme. I think these ones. Okay.
Not being very acidic.
Not being overly acidic.
Yeah, okay.
Shall we move?
Any last comments on that one?
I'm pleasantly surprised. I haven't had it in a while, to be honest.
Oh, Liz, not bad with truffle pate on toast. Like,
Ooh.
What are you, mates?
That'd be good with truffle.
Jane says, I'm with Ross, wants barbecue. And
Excellent.
Diane has cooked lamb for tonight, so it's alright.
Well,
She's
if
on
Diane's cooked lamb for tonight, she's got a treat to come in for tonight, I think. Okay. Now, we debated over the next two which one we'd have next for various reasons. So we're going with Luke's suggestion that we go with Mr Black next.
Now, why did we say that?
Because it's, I think...
I think it's going to be a little bit spicier than the Zema, which is why Ross wanted to do it last. But I think the Zema estate
is a classier wine, is what Luke's saying.
not just classier, it's going to have slightly different soil and, I don't know, I'm just expecting a little bit more flavour complexity.
Okay.
But we'll see. I might be wrong.
Now, the Black Book is one of our... Would you say it's one of our best Shiraz?
It is our
Sellers?
bestseller.
It's one of our best sellers.
Without
a doubt.
We sell lots of it.
Comes from
We've done quite a lot of it too.
Barossa Valley. It was set up in 1990... Oh, I might be wrong here. 1991 or 1995.
Yeah.
3 different blokes came together. One of which was Stephen Black, who's the current winemaker, and the other one of the others was, I think, Daniel Zimmerman. So it's a small. They're called Small Gully Wines. They're from Barossa Valley. The Zimmerman family has owned the parcel of land and grown grapes on it for more than 85 years before they opened up this vineyard with Stephen Black, who's now making the wines with his son.
Well, Stephen Black is a bit of a long story. Stephen Black was the original winemaker for the E&E Black Pepper Shiraz, if anybody remembers it.
Do very well.
He also mentored Stuart Bourne, who took over from him at E&E, making the Black Pepper Shiraz. And then went to
97 points.
Yeah, 98.
98 points.
Yeah. Stewie regularly got more points and grains with the E&E Black Pepper Shiraz. When Stephen moved on from the E&E Black Pepper Shiraz frame, he went to Chateau Tanunda when help re-establish that with the whatchamacallit family who did that. What were they?
Can't remember. Yep.
And
The man who did tea.
yeah, so he helped re-establish Chateau Tanunda to what back it was today, and then when he decided to move on to do the small gully stuff, is when Stewie Bourne went to Chateau Tanunda.
Oh, Chateau Tanunda, right.
So it's like Stewie's been following in Steve's footsteps all along. So.
Christine says that she's sure other people have also bought it because it reminds her of Black Bulls.
Well, that's why it's called Mr Black's little book after Stephen Black.
And he's quite an iconic winemaker. Someone's established things like the E&E Black Pepper Shiraz and all the whole Chateau Tanunda regime, as we now see it 20 years down the track, and then stuff like this. He
really knows what he's doing.
And I think he was originally a microbiologist or some sort of scientist in that kind of neck of the woods.
Now, I was reading about not just Stephen Black, but the grapes from the Zimmerman estate prior to this winery. And they were saying that they had a very specific practice of training their grapes to be very low yield, so as to specifically guarantee that they always had a really big, juicy, spicy harvest every year. And the best way to do that was to actually create less grapes, which I thought was quite interesting.
This has got quite a damp barnyardy sort of smell.
Very similar colour to the last one, maybe just a...
No, it's darker.
I'm going to say darker.
Yeah,
that
it's
just
a bit
may have
darker.
more in the glass.
Yeah,
No,
it's
no,
darker.
It's darker so it's like a purpley black
More
colour.
purpley, yeah.
But it's got a real... That's a funky smell that I associate with.
Yeah, Jen has said smells like a worm farm.
Thank
like
you,
very
exactly.
earthy. Yeah.
That's that
And now we're back on petrichor.
No, we're not. But it's that... I associate that smell with some Pinots. You know, you get that really...
I say
certainly.
Ontacar,
Funky.
which is a really
Sorry?
Ontacar.
on Dakar.
which is red brick dust.
Which is what they play on tennis
Oh.
It's used on tennis courts, but it's often what's on the was used to absorb moisture on the floor of old
Wine cellars.
wine cellars, particularly in old barrel houses underneath the winery. They would store all their barrels in the basement or in the cellar,
Yeah.
and they'd put brick dust because it absorbed any extra moisture without drying out the air.
Right.
So, there's that wet brick dust smell that if you've been into a winery cellar, I'm sure you might recognise it.
No, I feel like this one isn't quite as aromatic, or is that?
Okay. Yeah, no, not quite as plummy as that.
Or like just
yeah.
pungent.
I dare say I might leave the lid off this one and see.
Let
if
it breathe up a bit.
Yeah, okay.
Quite a large wine for what you
Should I
get.
open this as well?
Yeah, I think so. That's a good idea. Oh, yeah, okay. Bit of air. There's a bit more woodiness coming through.
Diane says you must have special wine glasses because the Mr Black is lighter than the other one.
Oh,
Oh.
interesting. Christine has.
No.
Christine has said again. So the quote: "A whole barnyard of flavors fits here, looking into the eye of a duck and sipping the fluid from its beak." Classic. Sorry.
Black from?
Black
Mr.
Bull.
Blacks.
Books. Is this one more plummy?
There's something
Oh,
else
really?
coming on.
Much more plum, yeah.
Much more plum.
There's something else coming on the nose.
I get briar patch kind of, you know.
I don't get any of those red fruit flavours actually. I don't think. Maybe dried plums. Not quite prunes, but
Oh, it reminds me of what are those Chinese plums? The little
that's what I'm thinking. Those
Chinese
Oh
prunes.
yes.
those little red Chinese plums that you cook with.
Mm.
Ooh.
It's a really specific reference for anyone at home. I'm sorry.
Are they sweeter than?
No, they're a bit sour.
They're a bit
They're
Sour, okay.
They're musky, sour, sort of dried plums. They're really delicious.
Interesting.
They have a nice sour woodiness.
Mm.
Sumac.
Yeah, nearly. Yeah, sort of.
You get some sumac?
I'm getting a bit of sumac.
Interesting.
I'm going to dive in because
Yeah, dive.
it's a difficult nose for me.
Ooh. I like
Wow.
the mouthfeel. It's
That
not-
really juicy front
Mm.
palate.
And all of that concentrated pepper at the back.
It's really
Certainly.
the transition from the
Delicious.
front to the back is really interesting. I'm actually getting almost raspberries and blackberries on the front, and then huge
And then
black
put-
pepper on
You
the
can't
back.
smell them.
No,
No.
I think that might.
It tastes completely different to the way it
I
smells.
think that might need to be decanted to get those flavours coming out.
Okay.
Christina said, "I'm getting a bit of smoky bacon kind of vibe."
yeah, that's a good bet.
And she's thinking maybe star anise or clove.
Yep.
And Lisa said, "Dusty tannins."
Yeah?
Dusty tannins.
Oh, you are a bit fancy pants, Liz. Very good. Very, very good.
Smoky. That's. I was reading some things on this, and someone else did say smoky bacon. So I'm quite good call.
Interesting. What else are we getting on the palate?
I'm liking the raspberries and blackberries bit of it. To me, it goes sort of raspberries, blackberries, and then into plums, and then into the middle palate.
And then pepper at the
I don't know
back.
if it's the texture, but I'm getting like a little bit of orangey sort of.
Oh yeah.
Janine has said, "I'm getting yum."
Fair enough.
Good call.
Good call. Indeed.
Is that a yum or a double yum?
Yum.
Only give it one yum.
A one yum at the moment.
One yum.
Give it time.
There's definitely a bit of other spice in there apart from the black pepper.
Interesting. Now, what's the story about cool climate Shirazes? When people ask for a cool climate Shiraz, what are they asking for in a Shiraz?
They're the lighter, more aromatic, more spicy kind of.
More spicy. Okay.
The warmer climate ones tend to be bigger and more sort of blackberries and plums and those big, bold, fruity flavours. Where the cool climate stuff tends to be more spicy, like white pepper, nutmeg,
Yeah, it's
spicy flavours as opposed to
and the red
fruity
fruit
flavours.
is less blackberries and more light raspberries, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
white
Janine-
pepper, pink
Janine said
peppercorn.
double yum, and there's a lot of food going on here. So Christina's got pickled onion cheese, and Liz has got paprika spiced chicken stuffing on toast.
Oh, yum!
And Jared has said taste is completely different to the smell. as
Yeah,
well.
exactly.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a 2017, and I dare say it would go for a fair while.
It's got a lot of legs in it, this one.
Yeah, that will.
All of that heavy pepperiness on the back palate could survive quite a long.
And we tend to say this is a $40 wine in a $20 bottle, I reckon.
Yeah.
It's really,
I
think
was
it's
pretty
really
outstanding
good value.
when we first tasted this to say that it came in under $20.
It's really
Nicely
good.
done.
Well, I mean, I think in a wine show to get get at least 94 points, which means it should be worth at least $40. That's kind of the line, but
Maybe we should
he's happy
keep
to sell it
quiet
for
about it.
under
Shh.
No.
Price on application.
At the end of the day, Stephen Black is quite happy to sell it at under $20. So, like,
Good on
why
you.
should we
These are one
dissuade
of
him?
my favourite red wines, I reckon.
Well, the other thing is that Stephen Black makes some other Shiraz
Yes.
higher up in his rankings, and I dare say if
What else does he make that we have?
we sometimes carry some of his Pinot.
No, he makes the concoction. He makes 2 or 3 other Shirazes.
Okay.
They're all. They have a bit more finesse, but I don't think any better value.
Yeah.
Well, they all go up 24, 30, whatever.
That's really delicious.
Yeah, I'd just be interested to see maybe back to back what
Yeah,
the other
the
wines
comparisons.
provide.
Yeah.
Might just be a different flavour profile.
Now, where would we want to be drinking this? What would we want to pair it with?
This could stand up to something a bit more substantial, I reckon. This isn't a sort of a
Big bit of steak.
yeah.
I don't.
Aged steak though, but I'd do something more complex.
Yeah, I don't. I think this might. I
Maybe
like my steak quite rare, and this might overdo it.
Yeah.
I think, but yeah, you're right. Something a bit
a
more
ragu
complex.
of some kind.
Beef cheek?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Beef cheeks?
Oh,
Raised beef
nah.
cheeks.
You know what? I've got some Ossipuco at home,
So am I.
and that's a pretty good idea.
That is a good one idea.
It's fatty, rich, yummy stew.
Stew. Yeah, okay. Interesting.
Although we made our ossobuco the other day with proper veal rather than beef, and it's much lighter. Anyway, we're not here to talk about.
Where's the fun in that?
Josh has said Andy reckons at least 5 years. I'm sure it wouldn't last long here. Definitely a favourite.
Yeah.
And Bella said, I haven't seen this
Bit
before,
more,
and I've
wouldn't
had a lot of Barossa Shirazes. There you go.
Ava, could you do me a favour? Can I get some water?
Yes, you can. And Belle has said we're having ossobuco tomorrow night, so they're going to save some for it. That's a very good idea. Sounds
And it'll
delicious.
be nicely settled and breathed by then.
Yeah.
That's true, yes.
Yeah. Ossobuco's always been the best next day anyway.
Definitely.
Okay.
Now, the Zema steak.
Have you got the lid for that?
I do.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
What do we need to know about Zema? Where are these guys from?
Coonawarra, not the Barossa.
Coonawarra brand.
And Coonawarra has lots of good Shiraz. I mean, they're pretty much known for Coonawarra and Zema for their Cabernet. But as numerous people from the Coonawarra pointed out to me, that Cabernet's only been in the Coonawarra since the early 70s, where Shiraz has been grown there at Wynns and places like that for well over 100 years. So the foundation of the whole Coonawarra wine region ethos was on Shiraz, not on Cabernet. Just Cabernet's a later addition to it. So there's some lots of really old vine Shiraz kicking around in the Coonawarra.
Oh wow, this is much darker.
Zema's made their first wine in 1982.
Jet black.
So they're not. So they've been around for a while. They seem to know what they're doing. They're in the main strip with Redmonds and De Giorgio's and Parker, and just they're all that one little bit.
De Giorgio,
They're actually next door to De Giorgio, next door to Redmonds. So they're all kind of just there.
aren't they in Limestone Coast, South Australia?
De Giorgio have both. They have a
Oh, of
winery
course.
and wine in Coonawarra and a bigger
Sorry, my
property in Lucendale. But Zema Estate are right in the heart of the Coonawarra. They're just round the corner from the Coonawarra station, in fact. So it's kind of all just there. I really like their Shiraz. I think it's got a real lot of finesse. And the first one they made in 1982 was Shiraz. So
They're
Bit
just
of-
getting it right then.
They are.
Beautiful, amazing colour. It's really
And
dark.
you'll notice this is one of the reasons we picked this wine against, obviously, a Barossa and a Victorian is Coonawarra has very different soil.
What does that do to it?
It just means that we're going to get a completely different flavour. Usually, lots of very red soil. So, completely
over
different.
lots of really hefty limestone rock.
Yeah, lots of stuff going on.
This is 2014, and I think Zema, I think Halliday would have given them 95, 96 points for this one, as I recall. So it was again for sort of around the $30. I think it's a ripper of a wine.
And it is pitch black.
Nice colour,
Yeah.
nice rim.
Actually, Diane has said, we love Zema. They're personal friends and they make amazing wines.
Woohoo!
Ooh, wow.
Very different nose on this.
Do you think... Oh, yeah.
Bit floral, this one.
Slightly.
Almost like mulberry sort of smell.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. It's interesting. I often get mulberry from Coonawarra Shiraz. Kind of.
I'm going to say camellia. That's complete. I don't know where that came from.
Interesting. Liz has said delicious.
Yeah, there's something really, really interesting nose.
Christina said smells quite peppery and spicy.
Like pepper though. It's not.
Jen has said this smells like I want to roll in it.
I think she only got a small bottle.
Yeah.
It's a very small bathtub. Yeah, the oakiness is coming through, which is really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, you can actually
Yeah.
sort of smell the room it was made in. If you go to, we were in Giorgio last year, and back in the day when you could drive places, and they've actually got a cut through down into the soil, so you can see all of the layers of the Coonawarra soil.
Whoa.
It's very cool.
Wow.
Yeah, one of the winemakers decided they wanted to know exactly what was under the ground because they had all these geology reports, so they just got the tractor out and just scooped it
Dug a
down to
big
2.
hole.
Dug a big hole and scooped it out to 2
Not the
metres.
usual, just like the pole thing down.
Well, they just
They just dug.
It just scooped out. It's about the size of a carport, but it scooped out down to 2 metres. That's the sheer
So
wall.
you
It
can
just-
walk down into it. It's very
just
cool.
walk
and
down
you can
into
really
it and
see
you can
it's
see.
really striated in terms of the layers.
Wow.
And the topsoil varies between about this much and this much. It's kind of like a bit of a wave the way it goes on, and you've got this limestone underneath. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Wow.
Really clever.
That's really cool.
It's very cool. They also cut a piece out of a cork tree, so you can actually see
What cork
how cork
works.
grows. It looks like.
That's
It's
cool.
great. We learned a lot there. Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah,
Sounds
sorry.
like great fun. Janine has said this one's quite bold, and Liz has said being slightly more complex.
yeah.
Jared has said maybe a bit of mint.
Yeah, that's maybe what I'm getting at with the camellia. There's a light sort of fresh smell that I can't. place.
Typical the Coonawarra, you get a bit more in the Cabernets, but it's always either mint or rosemary or olive leaf, those kinds of smells.
Yeah, there's a bit of olive on the nose, actually.
That's very typical of the Coonawarra.
Now I feel like we're swirling these ones a lot more than we do any other wine tasting. Is that something that you should be doing with Shiraz, or
It just opens up the flavours.
is that? But would you say that's more with Shiraz than any other type of wine?
You
No.
see it particularly.
No, I particularly do it in every wine.
I disagree.
Yeah.
I think Shiraz and Cab Sav, the bigger the wine, the less likely it is to be fragrant straight out of the bottle.
Open, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
okay.
it just because it's such a bold wine, it gets really quite
High
Closed
press.
up.
yeah closed in the bottle.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is why you
interesting.
decant these little beasties.
Or swirl it in a large glass and call it a day.
Josh has said it's like getting all the punch and present which is missing from the Jimmy. Linda has said my favourite. Ooh. Christina said getting a bit of plummy with this one. And something makes me think of poached pears.
Oh yeah,
Interesting.
I'm getting a bit of pear on the palate.
I have a bit of blueberry on the back, on the finish.
Blueberries there, yeah.
Yep.
The
Ooh.
texture's really nice as well.
Really nice.
Very smooth. It's really well rounded in the mouth.
That really subtle bit of spicy bit at the back, I think is very well integrated into the palate. I like the Mr Blacks, but I know when I've had one glass too many because my mouth is a bit
Dry.
not just dry, no, it's just like too much pepper. Whereas that is a little bit more.
Yeah, balanced.
Yeah, there's a lot.
It's got a lovely aftertaste, actually. It's really nice.
Venison.
Yeah, Belle has said I can smell a hint of licorice or fennel, but she can't taste it.
Oh,
Maybe that's like the freshness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally get the licorice, actually.
What's the sort of spices that you're getting in this?
Star anise, I think.
Star anise?
That, yeah, it's subtle, aniseedy, quite woody. Yeah, definitely star anise. Yeah, fennel seeds, fresh fennel.
Be nice with Asian pork or duck.
Mmm.
I reckon.
Ooh. Something
Maybe
Asian
something like, I'm getting, I don't know why in my head, but, you know, like, that pork that's, like, rolled in, marinated and then rolled in a spice rub. Something like that. I can't really...
Like porchetta, you mean?
No, and then... No.
Be good with porchetta?
Would be good with porchetta.
No, I'm
Good
thinking
porchetta.
more beef.
I'm thinking, what am I
Liz has said I've gone back to the truffle goop on toast.
Nice.
Yum. And Bella said saying great with a steak.
I think this is more of a steak wine,
Yeah.
for sure. It's got a bit more of the juiciness to it, which I really enjoy.
Okay.
Well, particularly for those of us who have blue steak. Hello, Matt Heinen.
We've got Matt Home on.
We have.
Hi, Matt.
Anything else to say about the Zema?
I like it. I like it.
There's a lot of flavour. A
Lot
lot
of
of
flavour?
different things going on.
Beautiful.
I think it's a crowd pleaser. the
It
Zema.
always reminds me when I have a Zema or Redmonds or whatever, like, you know, there's a lot of raving about Coonawarra Cabernet, but there's some really good Shiraz comes out of that Coonawarra.
Yeah, I agree.
Seriously good.
Everyone's enjoying all of these. I think everyone's got different favourites, but it's hard to choose their favourites.
It's a pretty good lineup tonight, actually. I'm pretty impressed.
Definitely.
There's
Now, do
something else going on, sorry.
Oh.
There's something else going on.
What's
Ooh.
going on?
What's going on, Luke?
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on?
Oh, there's something... Yeah, I'm going to have to think about it.
Get back to us.
Yeah, it's something on the middle palate that's, like, contributing to the aftertaste.
I'm definitely getting
Stewed
the fennel
plums?
now. The more I've tasted it.
No, not the plums.
Not the plums?
Now all these winemakers, are they somewhat-ish independent to an extent?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah,
We like that.
we do.
We do indeed.
Mm.
Now, do we have any standout points from each wine? Do we have a favourite? Or if you go through all of them, what are the key points, would you say? If you can remember back.
Good,
No.
good general drinking wine.
Jimmy, $15, good general drinking wine.
In terms of $15 Shiraz, it's pretty hard to beat.
And I think Ross's call, that's a really good pizza wine.
That is a really good pizza wine. Mr Blacks, I love it.
That one's
But it-
$19, I think?
Yes,
just for people.
for under 20, if you want a really big, gutsy Shiraz.
I reckon that's
Lots
the
of
best
black
value
pepper.
you can get under 20.
Yeah, and I think
And I think
perfect barbecue.
the Zema
Barbecue,
is the
big steak, big stew, whatever.
really big, interesting all-rounder.
Yeah, and that's a $30 wine.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
Beautiful. We love that.
I love the Mr Blacks, but I think sometimes I couldn't do that much pepper 2 nights in a row.
That's fair. Do we?
Oh,
Do you have a favourite?
Mine is the Zema, actually.
Zema?
I like them all in their place.
Yeah, I'd be flipping a coin. I think probably the Zema is the classiest of the bunch, but Jimmy's I like the other two.
We love a bit
Well,
of
there's
class.
like your Friday night pizza wine, and
Yeah.
then there's like your Sunday afternoon lunch with the family, you know,
No,
being
not
a
the
bit...
family, bugger that.
Oh, sorry,
Not
good
sharing.
friends.
You all drink too much.
Yeah. Sunday afternoon with the family, except it's 3 bottles if Luke's there.
Yeah. We all know how that goes.
Competitive drinking.
Christina says, don't try the Zema with a sharp cheese.
No can do.
But she said, lovely with a 90% dark chocolate, though. Nice.
She's prepared to put her palate on the line.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't mind that with like a gooey brie or even a camembert.
Which one, the Zema?
Yeah.
Why would you say that?
Just something a bit
Soft.
bit gooey, oily,
Textural.
creamy to go
Okay.
with that juicy nature.
Interesting.
Texture, it's a bit sort of almost creamy on the palate.
Yeah. I'd even go like
I'd go blue.
I'd go chèvre, French goat's cheese.
So there. You've been brought up wrong. You should know that stuff.
I know, but I do. Here we are. Anyway.
Beautiful. Do we have any last comments on Shiraz?
Yum.
Yum.
Goes to show that different regions
Quite different wines.
I
quite
think-
different wines.
Yeah, I think I used to think that Shiraz was too peppery, or I didn't like it because it was peppery, but I don't think that's the case at all. So there you go. The things you
There
know.
you go,
We're
indeed.
only here to educate you.
And it
Thanks.
also goes to show that you can get some really good Shirazes, particularly in Australia, pretty affordably.
Absolutely.
Things like Pinot
There
can
you
be a
go.
bit risky.
Liz says Brie works with the Zema.
Things like Pinot can be risky for under, for around the $15 mark. But $15 Shiraz in Australia is like
The bomb.
pretty damn
Yeah.
remarkable.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
We like that. Beautiful. Well, then on to next week.
What are we doing next week, Eva?
Woo! We're doing whiskey. So we're doing cask finishes. So we're going to be doing the Balvenie 14-year-old cask, Caribbean cask. So it's finished in rum
It's a rum cask.
cask. We're doing the Starwood Nova. So that's in red
Red
wine
wine
barrels.
casks.
And then the Auchentoshan
American
Oak
Which
So
is
Starwood is from sunny downtown
in Port Melbourne.
Port Melbourne.
so we've got 2 Scottish whiskies, 1 Australian whiskey.
We thought
finished-
we'd give Australian a go.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about this one.
Rum cask, wine cask, bourbon cask. So really interesting spread next week.
And it highlights the influence that the barrels do have on the whiskey.
We mentioned it when we did our port cask from Balvenie as well, and when we did the Macallans and things like that.
And we think the week after that we're going to be doing
Probably, we're going to be doing gin, I believe.
gin and tonic pairings, we think.
Yeah, gin and tonic. It's going to be
Which
slightly
we'll
different,
sort out tomorrow.
but we will let you know. Beautiful.
And then after that, we're going to be doing aperitivo.
Aperitivo for spring.
Woo!
Yeah.
Very exciting. Beautiful. Well, yeah, the same goes that we'll have the event. Well, the event's already up for the whiskey. You can get a flat for
No, and a
$50.
bit of a heads up for the aperitivo. We've been working with Michelangelo, the Italian restaurant across the road, on a food pairing for the aperitivo. So there'll be an option where you not only get your wine pack, but you can get a food pack as well delivered
Yum.
that matches the aperitivo.
And we'll probably talk a bit more about that next week.
Yeah, we'll keep you posted.
So exciting.
We'll see you all next week when we do whiskey.
For whiskey.
Awesome.
I'm very excited.
So thanks guys for tuning in. Feel
Cheers.
free to share and do all of that sort of stuff. Did we want to quickly mention the tasting we did you guys did last night?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you can go and check us out on Fossies that have just released some
Barrel aged gin.
Yes. So we the guys tasted the barrel aged gin and they were all set up, a beautiful setup, and it looked great. And they were with the Fossies guys, so that was all
Very
fabo.
good. So go over to the Facebook page, the Fossies Facebook page, and there should be a video up there
I think
for
we've shared it too, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
our live stream that we did last night.
And so I highly recommend it. They're all fabulous gins.
Oh,
Really good.
So tasty.
And
Yeah.
from what I understand, they're doing free postage to Melbourne.
Indeed.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Anyway,
And
we'll
have
see you
them
all
in stock.
next week.
And we've got some spaces left for private tastings in
The exclusive tasting.
September. So
Yeah.
get
Starting
on to
in September.
it. Yes, we're still doing a photo competition, Christine.
Beautiful.
So
All right.
keep them going.
See you
Bye,
next week.
guys.